Do you support increased investments to deal with homeless, and why?
Excuse me. Absolutely, I do. Why? Because it's absolutely the right thing to do ethically. And then why? Because it's the absolute best thing to do economically. And then why? Because it's the absolute right thing to do in terms of social justice and cohesion. I mean, it's tragic. And the opioid crisis is interlinked in that. We need to remember, as we view this problem, that over half of the people who died the previous year from opioid overdoses were in fact people who were working men, usually in their 40s, who had been prescribed opioids and then became addicted. What we see on our streets is a tragedy that's developed over about 20 years since I could go back to the federal government canceling transfer payments in the mid-90s or the late 80s and then restarting them in the mid-90s. But for 16 years, virtually nothing was done except the problem was made worse. In just 3 years, the BC NDP has built more housing than the BC Liberals did in 16 years. So you don't turn that around overnight. It's not a light switch. These projects take time to develop, and the problems that it's created take are equally difficult to solve. But we've proven that investing in people and providing these supports is successful and the best practice. And so we are going to invest in that, and we already have been with all the housing investments that I spoke about. We also created a standalone Ministry of Mental Health and Addictions that is addressing the problem not only directly through the ministry, but also helping coordinate the services of other ministries to better care for people. As COVID has happened, shipping routes and supply chains have been broken. That also broke the drug supply. So the drug supply has become even more toxic. And our priority now is keeping people alive, getting them off the street, getting them into a situation where they can receive the help that they need. I mean, we look at homeless people on Gabriola. Gabriola, 1 in 65 people are homeless. That's a considerably higher ratio than even in Nanaimo. So this is a problem that is everywhere. We will deal with it by increasing supports, increasing training, increasing housing, and realigning the priorities of government. We were able to make all of these investments and up until COVID, balance the budget simply because we made different decisions, simply because we weren't giving tax breaks to the top 1% so they could have a tax-free yacht, as John Horgan says. No, we took the priorities of government and directed them towards the people and reducing costs for people. And now we have to do a better job and increase what we've been doing to help bring people off the street, because homeless people aren't a thing. They're people without homes, and they're citizens. Rick Dolman told me once about this subject. He said, well, if I was running a railroad, I wouldn't invest all my money in the posh parlor car for the rich people. I'd look for the car with the squeakiest wheels that was holding the whole train speed down, and I'd take care of that car and the whole thing would roll better. And I love that analogy. So that's what we're trying to do. Long answer.